G'day Groovers, welcome to the Shitty Kitty Kitchen. Just doing a few admin-y things. I'm just going to drop the YouTube link in the Facebook land. Just letting everyone know on Facebook that I will pop over and say g'day every now and then. So professional. You can't actually do this till it goes live on Facebook. That's why I'm doing it now. All right, so I'm just dropping the link for the Facebook peeps. G'day to anyone who's watching on Facebook. And I'm going to pin that. And if you click on that link, you'll come over to YouTube's. If you've got a Gmail account, you can come on over. If you want to chat in the chat on YouTube, it will ask you to create a channel. It'll take you about 30 seconds, if that. Hey, Claire Bear. Hey, El Marco Chinko. Hey, Claire Bear, are you going to be cooking along? Are you doing this recipe that we're doing out of Yotam Ottolenghi's Simple on page 85? Cavolo Nero, which in Australia, you're more likely to be using Silverbeet, which is what I'm using today, or kale. I'm just trying to find my StreamYard so I can put my camera on. G'day, Groovers. So, yeah, tonight we're going to do a couple of things. Won't be a long live because I'm going to make this Silverbeet dish. It's a bit of an inspiration for everyone because we're in spring, even though today it's very cold and rainy and it's been windy all day. It's one of those bunker down kind of days. But thought we might do a little, because I'm cooking the book, I'm working my way through, not from cover to cover, but just choosing recipes out of Yotam Ottolenghi's Simple. And I grabbed a really lovely bunch of Silverbeet the other day and I was like, let's do something with that. Get everyone eating their spring greens. So that's what we're going to be eating today or cooking. I'm actually going to be serving mine with, as a side dish, with lamb chops tonight. And once I've finished showing you how to do it, I'll pop it in the oven just to keep it warm and I'll crank up the gorilla and get my chops happening. But Yotam's recipe does include chorizo as well as preserved lemon. And, God, 28 degrees for you guys. It was 12 here today. Wet, windy. Great day to do the washing. And clean sheets Sunday. I always get so excited about going to bed when I put clean sheets on my bed. So, yeah, Yotam's recipe does include chorizo preserved lemon. I didn't have 4 weeks to preserve some lemons. I didn't go to the farmer's market today. I don't even know if it went ahead. It was probably washed out if it did. Not cooking along the side. Well, you can check this out and see if you decide. I'm not a huge fan of Silverbeet, so I'm hoping this is delicious because Yotam's food is, and that it'll become a staple for me. With leafy greens, I tend to just put a giant handful of them on my plate or make a little salad or something with them. So he says this is a really cool dish to do. Like if you're going to do a tapas sort of menu, do that as one of them. He does also say it's a really cool side dish for some other proteins, but because there's chorizo in the recipe that he's that we're doing, for me that's too much to have chorizo and then lamb chops. So I've taken the chorizo out. But also it is a bit of a stir fry kind of dish. So the rule of stir fries, even though I don't normally prep in advance with stir fries, I have everything chopped up and ready to go. But before we do that, I got asked, I've mentioned a couple of times how I love chia puddings for breakfast. And someone actually said to me, can you teach us how to make them? They're so freaking easy that I thought I'd just put a couple in so I can have one for breakfast tomorrow and on Tuesday. But they're super easy. I mean, the main trick with a chia pudding is that it soaks overnight. So that's really all you've got to remember to do is make it the night before you want to eat it. Oh, you love the soup. Yeah, another friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine in WA made it too. She made it yesterday and sent me a photo and said her vegetarian daughter was going to be very excited. It is delicious, isn't it? And so light, and also beautiful colour. And just, you know, zucchini soup is something a bit quirky too. That's the one we made the other day. If you want to know what we're chatting about, have a look on my channel and find the zucchini and pea soup. I'm really hungry. I'm getting all... Ooh. So chia puddings, super easy. I've already sterilised a couple of jars. Yotam taught me how to sterilise jars. The trick is, you remember the old days when your grandma would have them all washed and then they'd go in the oven and all the rest of it? Just fill up whatever jars you're using. I did the same for the pickled lemon that I made yesterday. Fill it up with boiling water, leave the water in for about a minute, tip out the water, and then let them dry on their own. That's all you've got to do. But chia puddings, so easy. It's really, with the chia pudding, it's really what you... God, I shook that like crazy and it still hasn't really blended the coconut milk. Chopsticks, best things to have in your kitchen for funny little jobs like this. So, hey Biscuit, you've had your dinner. The shitty kitty is supervising. You ate your dinner before. You've got biscuits there. Oh, I opened a can. She thinks it's tuna. She always goes nuts. She does actually like coconut cream, coconut milk, don't you? You heard me open a tin. Sorry, Mugs. She has been known to have not the entire lid of a coconut milk, but just like I've scraped most of it off and just left a tiny bit on there for her. Every time she hears a can open, she thinks it's tuna, and she goes nuts if I'm ever cooking with tuna or making a salad or anything. Oh, thanks for dropping the soup link, Claire. So your chia puddings, just use coconut milk out of a tin. I'm making 2, so just half and half it. Half of the tin in one jar or whatever little container you want to use. I'm a bit of a wanker. I do like using jars for stuff, not for coffees, but chia puds with little jars that you can just grab out of the fridge and take them to work if you don't eat your food till a bit later in the morning. Or some people eat chia puddings at lunchtime. Some people make them smaller ones and have them as a snack. So just put coconut milk in the jar. I've split the tin between 2 jars. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in each jar. White chia seeds generally are better than black ones for chia puddings. I mean, I don't care. I'll use whatever chia I've got. But the black ones will bleed a little bit. So if you want aesthetics, then go for the white ones, and then you just mix them up. Try and get as much of the chia off the edge of the jar that you can and mix, give it a little stir. They're so easy. Chia seeds you can buy at supermarkets now. There used to be a time where you had to go to a health food store, but supermarkets, just go to the health food aisle and you'll find chia seeds aplenty. There's white ones, there's black chia, there's bags of mixed black and white. You just grab whatever one suits your budget. And it lasts forever too, the chia seeds, because you only use like a couple of tablespoons most of the time. And then just mix the chia seeds in. They will overnight absorb the coconut milk and expand, and then in the morning you just put whatever you want on top, a blob of peanut butter or one of the other nut butters. If you want some good oils, fresh berries or frozen berries, you can chop up some nuts and seeds. Shredded coconut I always put on mine. Some posh people put bee pollen, but I've never actually found bee pollen to even experiment with it. But you just pop these in the fridge overnight. They will expand, and then put whatever you want on top, and it's a really yummy, filling, healthy breakfast. So thank you to the person who asked me to teach you how to make them, because that was bloody easy. In the fridge they go, and that's breakfast sorted for the next couple of days. Too easy. Oh, I'm wearing my fuck apron tonight. I'm just gonna, funny enough, I could just see there, fuck kale. And kale you could actually do the recipe we're about to do with kale as well. I'm just gonna randomly point and then give you a topic to chat about. Fuck YOLO. Hey, Planet Sunshine. Enjoy. And then, yeah, in the morning, Planet Sunshine, the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to put on top of it. You can put, sometimes people put cream and stuff like that. I don't. But you could put yogurt through it if you wanted it to be a bit more bitey. Sometimes you can put some vanilla extract or vanilla essence in it if you want a sweeter sort of flavour. But I find like the berries and things you pop on top. I usually put some cinnamon as well on mine. So yeah, that's the way I allot my breakfast. And you can make some, Planet Sunshine. So very easy. Yeah, so the random topic, if people want to chat about something in addition to what you've been up to the weekend, my finger landed on fuck YOLO. You only live once. So feel free to debate and discuss that. Right, so we're making this dish out of Yotam Ottolenghi Simple. I'm not sponsored. I just wanted to cook through a book, and this is the one I chose. So that's what it looks like. It's pretty pretty. The red that you can see, that's not cherry tomatoes, that is chorizo. And then cavolo nero with chorizo and preserved lemon. So we're doing a bit of a variation on that. Firstly, I'm using Silverbeet. You can use kale. Secondly, I'm making it as a side dish, and the chorizo as well is a bit too much for me. I'm having it with some lamb, so I'm not going to include that, but I'll tell you when you should be cooking the chorizo, which is actually right at the start. And because I didn't have 4 weeks to preserve some lemons, I actually made Yotam's pickled lemons yesterday in the shitty kitty kitchen. They had a 24-hour marinate in the fridge overnight. There's quite a lot of spices, chili. You can see bits of red chili through it. Never made them before. According to Yotam, this will become like a chili sauce. If you start using these on all your dishes, you'll become addicted. And this jar will last for 2 weeks in the fridge. So I'm going to be I use lemons in my cooking nearly every day, and I use it as a garnish a lot. So that'll go in 2 weeks. If I like it, we'll find out. So now I'm going to start prepping all the ingredients, because it is a bit like a stir fry. If you were going to make this with chorizo, you would cut it, get your sausages. You need 3 of them. Cut them in half and then do little half slices, a bit like the way you cut a zucchini sometimes. What's cool, Claire Bear? And g'day to everyone on Facebook land. Feel free to come over to YouTube if you want, because I actually use a program called StreamYard when I go live. And I can see all the chat from YouTube, but not Facebook. So yeah, your chorizo, to prepare that, you would slice them lengthways, have your sausage and whoop, and then chop it along in little half circle slices, if that makes sense. And you need 3. You also need 3 garlic cloves, and you need them to be sliced. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just getting rid of the skins. Hey, Grandma Ducky, good to see you, Groover. Oh, the lemons. Yeah, they look all right. They smell amazing. Every time I open my fridge, because they were in a bowl, I mean, it was covered, but I'd get this amazing waft of spices and stuff. So if it tastes as good as it smells, but it's quite a decent quantity. That was 3 lemons. And I will show you guys how to do preserved lemons. I've never made them myself. I used to buy them. But I will do some preserved lemons on this channel soon. I was going to go to the farmer's market and get a big bag of them, but one of my friends has got a tree that's just covered in lemons. I might see if she can bring me down a dozen, or my sister, who's coming down later in the week. I'll see if she's got any. And we'll make some preserved lemons. I need 4 weeks to preserve. So I'm just thinly slicing up 3 cloves of garlic. But yeah, because it's a bit of a stir fry kind of dish, I'll just get everything ready. Because you don't mess around with stir fries. It's the one dish that I cook that I prepare everything in advance. Normally I sort of just do the ingredients as I go. But with a stir fry, it's really cool to have everything ready to chuck in. That's a pretty chunky bit of garlic you've got there, Hodge. So I've just sliced up 3 cloves of garlic. If this is yummy, I'll be excited because, yeah, for me with leafy greens, I'll even, like even if I made a keto pizza, I'd grab a huge handful of rocket and just plonk it on top. So I'm a bit excited. I love Yotam's food. He does amazing vegetable. I've never cooked a Yotam recipe I haven't liked, so if he gets me eating a bit more Silverbeet, then good on him. Just going to get, we need paprika. I'm just going to get everything over here ready to chuck in. So next up, your Silverbeet or your kale, whatever you're using. You want to rip the, just basically you're going to be ripping all the green leaves off the stems. So one thing about Silverbeet I don't like is the stems. Some people do, but I've never, I don't know if it's something from my childhood. I remember my mum cooked Silverbeet one night and I got a crunch in my mouth and it was a baby, like a tiny, tiny little baby snail. And I didn't eat Silverbeet for a long time after that. You saw this recipe online, but the ingredients aren't easily. Oh, okay. Because you could use spinach. Which ingredients? The chorizo, preserved lemons. That's why I made the lemon pickle yesterday, which was really easy. So we're sort of cheating. I'm adjusting Yotam's recipe, but I'm using his pickled lemon. So at least I used his recipe for pickled lemon, which I've never made before either, I've got to say. But yeah, spinach, kale, Silverbeet, obviously, cavolo, nero, any kind of leafy green will do. But I'm just ripping off the leaves. Oh, your neighbour throws a bag of lemons off a tree. Oh, you lucky girl. Yeah, the wax. I scrubbed the lemons that I pickled yesterday. They were actually grown on a tree, but I still, because he said to unwax them, I was like, do I have to? So I did give them a bit of a scrub. But apparently if you've just grown them off a tree, you don't have to. I just assumed there was some sort of wax in lemons anyway, but hopefully my worms, I've got a worm farm, hopefully they'll enjoy the Silverbeet stems. I'll chop them up a bit finer so they break down quickly, but I'm not a fan. Biscuit's no longer hovering. She's not a fan. But I kind of like trying recipes of things that I know are good for me to eat, like leafy greens like this one. Don't get me wrong, I love spinach, baby spinach, rocket, all that sort of stuff. Cos lettuce, any lettuce really. It's just, and I love putting spinach in spinach pies with feta cheese and stuff like that. But I find as a side dish, my go-to is not usually a bunch of leafy greens, and I'm trying to, or this sort of stuff. I'm trying to find a dish that I like. But like Yotam said, if you want to do a tapas sort of banquet, this is the perfect thing to do. So I've now taken all the green leaves off, the stems, and then we're just slicing them up, I believe. Sort of, he says 4-centimetre thick strips. He also says to rinse it, but I rinsed it a bit earlier because there's some things that I don't think I need to show you how to do on a YouTube live. And I think rinsing Silverbeet's pretty straightforward. Plus, I like to rinse. If you're going to use greens and things like that, and they need to be rinsed, do it before you start cooking so they have a chance to dry. I don't like chucking things into cooking and it's still got water on it from when you gave it a quick rinse. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of my friends have got lemon trees planted. Sunshine. I used to have a lemon tree out on my deck. And it was producing lemons, but my possums, my little brush-tail possums, little bastards, had come along every night and take a bite out of a lemon, but not the same one. Like each lemon had a bite taken out of it. And they clearly didn't like it because they didn't eat the rest of the lemon. I mean, I ate them. I just cut the bit where they'd bitten it and, you know, gave them a good wash, but it was a bit disappointing. Every fucking lemon, they took a bite out of it. Yeah, spinach and feta. That's a great flavour combo. I'm keen to see what this is like because, I mean, I can imagine it with chorizo and preserved lemon stirred through it. It's going to be a really bold, robust sort of side dish. And what a great thing to sort of add to the leafy greens. But it also has paprika, lots of garlic, and at the end you stir sour cream through it too. So now we're talking. And if this dish and the little chia puds I made earlier, keto friendly, so happy days. I'm not keto 100% of the time. I do like a lot of the keto stuff, but I have put a few carbs, low carbs, back into my diet. I found I didn't get faint on full keto, but I couldn't do any really full-on exercise, and I'm back at the gym and really enjoying being able to do weights and strength and all that sort of strength classes, even like the cycle classes. When I was doing keto, it was pathetic on a spin class. So that's all now being chopped up. Next, we're going to slice up my pickled lemons. Now, if you were using preserved lemons, he says to use 2 small ones and to, what did he say? Discard the pips, the skin, and discard the pips and then just the skin and flesh roughly chopped up. I'm just sort of guessing what 2 lemons will be. I'm taking quite a few slices out. But this is a super spicy thing on its own right, and it's got heaps of chili and all sorts of stuff. That looks roughly like 2 lemons, small lemons. And he says to discard the seeds, but I think all the seeds are in the bottom of the jar. I don't mind the occasional lemon pip surprise. So, I mean, if it was a preserved lemon, yeah, you'd be taking each little lemon pip out and then just chopping up the rind and the flesh. I'm just going to taste my pickled lemon. I'll give you guys a review. Tastes like a pickled lemon. The rind still got a bit of crunch to it, which is nice. It's not soggy. Can definitely taste the cumin. Didn't really get a chili kick from it. There's a bit of chili on the board, so there'll be a bit going through this dish. Yum. Yeah, yum. Oh, me like it. Hi, Deb. You've inspired me to use lemon more in dishes. Well, if you do this pickled lemon, he did suggest that it'll become a bit of an addiction like chili sauce. You'll want it on everything. So, and I use lemon. I do a lot of seafood. So there's always lemon in that. I use lemon juice on its own as a dressing for salads. I literally squeeze lemon juice over my salad, bit of salt and pepper, mix it up and good to go. But I can see that, yeah, these pickled lemons will be very well received. It's yummy. It's got a really nice, like, you know, if you chew into a lemon just as a lemon, it's a bit, it's taken the tartness out, but it's still got that really yummy citrusy flavor. Yum, I rate that. I'm going to give those pickled lemons from Yotam Ottolenghi's Jerusalem. I got this recipe because I looked up to see how to make preserved lemons, and the first thing I saw was 4 weeks in advance. I was like, oh, fuck. But underneath the preserved lemon recipe was a pickled lemon recipe, which is this, which we made yesterday. And, yeah, I'll definitely eat this in 2 weeks. No worries about it. It's divine. You could even, I don't really do desserts, but you could probably even put this on a dessert if you wanted a bit of a savoury kick to it to balance out the sweetness. I don't know, maybe on top of a pav would be a bit kooky. Pickled lemon on a, I don't know. It's yummy. I mean, definitely any sort of Middle Eastern desserts, I'd be contemplating using them. They're good. All right. We are going to be chucking in some lemon juice as well. So I'm just slicing that. I lemon juice with my fingers. You get the pips in your hands. Your hands are really good kitchen utensils. Yes, I do have a lemon juicer thing, but I really only use that when they're not super ripe. Having said that, these ones aren't super ripe. Hang on. I usually use my hands, but just in case, I'll have that ready to go. And sour cream we'll leave till the end. So I'll just say hi to everyone on Facebook. Fuck you only live once is the random topic from my fuck apron, if anyone wants to talk about that. But some people would probably say fuck Silverbeet, you only live once, don't eat it. But I am going to make this dish, and hopefully we will all find a new appreciation for Silverbeet or kale or cavolo, nero, or have you pronounced that. So we're going to turn on the wok. Any kind of frying pan that you've got with a bit of an edge on it will suffice. But if you've got a wok, use that. And this lid doesn't come with this wok. It just happens to fit on it. And there is a bit of covered cooking coming up. So we're going to heat this up. If you were using the chorizo, you're going to be doing that at the start. You're basically going to whack your wok on a medium heat. I do have a wok burner on my Barbie, which I much prefer to use. I love cooking with gas, but I'm not standing out there in fucking Tasmanian 8-degree weather or whatever it is. Just seeing what I'm doing. Yes, so what you would do with the chorizo is you'll heat it up, chuck in some olive oil, about a tablespoon, and then cook up your chorizo for 3 to 4 minutes, or as Yotam says, until it's golden brown. Then you'll add the garlic and a bit of paprika, but because I'm not doing the chorizo, I'm just going to do the oil and the garlic and the paprika, and then I'm actually going to remove that from the wok and add it a bit later. But if you're doing the chorizo, you do the chorizo, garlic and paprika, and then remove it all and then go on to your greens. Hey, Mary Winston, good to see you, beautiful. So the beauty of a wok too is they heat up really quickly. About a tablespoon of oil. Is anyone a fan of spinach? Or not spinach, silverbeet, kale, cavolo, nero? Do any of you guys eat it every day like Popeye? Because I'm hoping this is so amazing that I'll be like, oh my God, I'm eating silverbeet twice a week. Because it's got to be one of the best leafy greens, really, in terms of nutrition and stuff. So I'm just going to chuck in the 3 cloves of sliced garlic. It is heating up, but it's not super hot yet. And about half a teaspoon of smoky paprika. You don't want to burn your garlic, but you do want it to have a little bit of caramelization, a bit of brown going on. So I'll get that out of the way so I know I've used it. I love paprika. I love all spices. But yeah, if you were doing the chorizo component of this dish, that would be frying away. What does he say? He just says, yeah, you don't need the lid or anything. Just cook the chorizo for 3 to 4 minutes. When it's starting to brown, throw in the garlic and the paprika. Mary loves kale. Cool. Well, pay attention to this, Mary. It might be a dish you can get someone to whip up for you. Because I think I've got a mixed relationship with kale. If it's done really well in a restaurant or a cafe, bring it on. But if you go to someone's house and they've just steamed a shitload of kale, not a fan at all. Yeah, I'm more of a baby spinach person too, El Marco Chinko. I love me a bit of baby spinach, and I love rocket. But we're cooking the book. The only things I won't cook when I do any cook in the books is pork, because I don't eat it, and eggplant. I don't eat olives either, but I will substitute them with caper berries. But any eggplant lasagnas or curries, no, won't be happening. And he does actually do a lot of eggplant dishes. Just give the garlic a tiny bit longer. As soon as it starts to brown, take it out. Now, if you were doing the chorizo as well, you just use a slotted spoon. You want to try to keep as much of the oil in the wok as possible. But I'm taking the garlic out just so that it doesn't get crazy overcooked or anything sitting in there with the silverbeet. And so now there's just a bit of oil and paprika left in the wok. And then what you do is we're going to now get onto the greens. You put in the greens, but like in 3 or 4 small batches, so that you can get it all coated in that oil and paprika. Don't know what that was. Bit of a stem, I think. Oh, she might have had a bit of garlic off the tongs. So just give it a little toss. Because we all like a bit of tossing on this channel. It's just to try and get as much of the oil and paprika distributed. It's a handy little Yotam tip. Now the wok's only on a medium heat, so you won't be hearing lots of kind of noises just yet. It's not medium to high, it's just on a medium, so it's not too crazy. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of water, which I measured out earlier. There's that noise. We're also going to chuck in some salt and some pepper. About 1/4 teaspoon, he says. I mean, guess, motherfuckers. And a healthy amount of pepper. And then mix all of that through. Smells good. Smells fucking delicious. Fuck y'all, I've never even tried kale. I know, but look at here. Where is it? It was somewhere up here. Fuck kale. Right there. We're just going to give it another couple of stirs. He says to cook it at this part for about 3 minutes. Just giving it an occasional mix to let it wilt down a little bit. Wilting, wilting, wilting. Probably for another 30 seconds. And then we're going to in fact, now we're going to whack the lid on just to give it a bit of an opportunity to fully wilt. Then the lid's going to come off and we're going to fry it for another 5 to 6 minutes until all the liquid has evaporated and the leaves are cooked, but they need to have a bit of bite to them still. And he actually says when they're starting to brown. I'll probably not wait till they start to brown. Yeah, smoked paprika, yum, bo. You do need to cook kale with other stuff. Well, this has got garlic, smoked paprika. You could have had chorizo as well if you're doing that recipe. It is going to have some lemon added and also some sour cream. Actually, I'll get that out of the fridge. So that's probably about enough for it to be wilted. It's looking kind of wilted. We're just going to cook that for, he says 5 to 6 minutes until the liquid's absorbed. Well, a lot of the liquid's already absorbed. It's definitely wilted, but yeah, it's just to get some of the moisture off it so it's not, I guess, too slimy. But yeah, he says to wait till it's turning a little bit brown, but I don't know, that doesn't sound very appetizing to me. I'm going to pop my oven on because I'm going to I've got lamb chops that I'm going to do with it. So when it's ready, I'm going to just keep it warm in the oven till my chops are done. But I'm not going to bore you with that part. I always whisk the sour cream when I open it. I don't put your spoon in and just blob it. Like, give it a good whisk so it sort of liquefies a little bit and, you know, ends up like that. That's how you want your sour cream, not just some blob. Well, it's up to you. If you want a sour cream quenelle, then you quenelle it. I don't quenelle my sour cream. Let's check in on this Silverbeet. Still a bit of liquid in the bottom. Still looks like it's got a bit of bite. Starting to remind me of the Silverbeet that we had as kids, but certainly didn't have garlic and paprika with it. I'm not sure about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm thinking maybe 1 or 2 more, and that might be about it. I'm doing the chops in the gorilla. Gorilla. It's definitely a fucking swearing cooking show, El Marco Chinko. You're on to me. You've worked it out. And g'day to everyone over in fucking Facebook land too. I don't really want it much more wilted than that. So I'm calling it. I'm calling it. You want to put that beautiful garlic back into the pan. Oh, yum, with the paprika on it. That smells so good. We're also going to chuck in our preserved or pickled lemon that we made yesterday. We're going to whack in some lemon juice. He said about a tablespoon. Normally you get 2 tablespoons from a lemon. Sometimes 3 if it's a really big, fat, juicy motherfucker. That's probably 2 tablespoons close to it there, but I love lemon, so this dish is actually just going to be all lemon. If you had the chorizo, you would be chucking that in now as well. And take it off the heat. I'll show it to you, groovers. So it's all just mixed through. Shitload of lemon. He says about 100 grams of sour cream. If you go by the rule of thumb that 30 grams is like the size of a matchbox. And you mix the sour cream through, but not so that it's all covered in it. You want sort of streaks of it through the dish. I mean, you can mix it right up if you want, but if you want it to be pretty, that's basically, you know, just mix a bit of it through. And then, like I said, you'd have the chorizo as well, which adds that beautiful reddy, orangey sort of pop of colour. I did think about just doing some cherry tomatoes or something through it as well. I think that would be quite yummy. I thought about maybe doing some little roasted cherry tomatoes. But I'm just going to put this in a little dish. Which will go in the oven on a pretty low temperature just to keep it warm until my lamb is cooked. I'm just going to get a spatula so I get all the garlic out of the pan. Obviously, if you do a taste test and it's not seasoned enough, chuck in some more salt and pepper. Hopefully, this looks very pretty in the dish. Hopefully, it looks pretty for you guys. But can you see that? So you've still got some beautiful green stuff going on. Little streaks of sour cream going through it. And yeah, just picture it with the chorizo through it as well. So that was super easy. I'm going to do a taste test and give you guys a review. I forgot all about the cherry tomatoes, and I bought these really cute ones that are in a punnet that like it's a combustible, not combustible, what's the word? Like a, you know, you can chuck it in your compost. Compostable. It'll fall apart and dissolve. Oh my God. That is so good. Oh my God, Mum, why didn't you do that? Oh, hang on, I'll put this in the oven. I'm going to put my chops on too. That is so divine. And I actually, now that I'm eating it, the chorizo with it would be superb. I probably would eat that as a dish on its own for dinner. Just a bowl of that with the chorizo through it would be a really nice dinner. It definitely would be a great dish to do as a tapas dish for a table. It's going to be lush with the chops that I'm doing, and that's all I'm having is the chops and that. That's really, really good, and it was fun. It was easy to make. Just like any stir fries, prep everything first. It wasn't a super hot stir fry. I reckon Planet Sunshine, I reckon it will be just as good cold. It's the sort of thing that if I had it left over in the fridge, I'd eat it the next day like a salad. I mean, I'd put maybe a tin of tuna through it and some cherry tomatoes and eat the leftovers the next day as a salad. Would be divine. It's really yummy. You get the bit of sour cream and lemon together, and then the really beautiful deep flavour out of the Silverbeet. Yum. And I had a tiny bit of roasted garlic in that mouthful too, which is always gorgeous. The paprika's not really that strong. Probably next time I'd probably do a teaspoon of it. The chorizo would certainly take it to a different level, but it was just a bit too much to have chorizo and also lamb chops. So, but that's amazing. I'll make that again for sure. And I'll definitely do it when I have people over for dinner because it's got so many yummy flavors. My mouth is just exploding at the moment with all these different flavors. But the hero of the dish is the Silverbeet. It's just totally escalated. Mary would know because she's already said, oh yeah, I do kale and paprika, and that's basically what it is. It is good cold. Yeah, I reckon it would be, Mary. Thank you for confirming that because it would be. It'd be divine. I mean, you're going to have that sort of flavors will all blend a bit overnight. So it'll sort of be like having, like a bit of a paprika sour creamy sort of dressing and garlic on your greens. You could even mix through some fresh baby spinach, something like that, just to add a bit of fresh greens as well. But even just stirring through some cherry tomatoes and a little tin of tuna, that would be a very tasty salad with the lemon. And yeah, that's really good. Well done, Yotam. Another winner out of Simple by Yotam Ottolenghi. This book. I'm not sponsored, but I do love you, Yotam. But I just wanted to start cooking through a book on my shitty kitty kitchen, and this is the one I chose because everyone really should discover the joy of Yotam Ottolenghi if you haven't already. You will find, though, when you've got a primarily Middle Eastern sort of diet, that you'll find some of the foods a bit bland after you've eaten his stuff for a few years. Now I'm going to put a little sticker to mark that I've done it. Because I'm a bit of a dork like that. I bought a curation journal last year and it came with stickers that I've never used. And it's the 4th of October. And I'm going to give that, I've got to put SKC, which is Shitty Kitty Kitchen. That is so good. So good. Everything gets a little review. Someone said to me years ago, write a journal. And then when you're gone, people can read your journals and get to know you all over again. Now, when I'm gone, I open my cookbooks and that's where you'll find my journal. The dates of when I made things and ate things and comments and notes and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that was amazing. I would probably also double the recipe if you're feeding more than 2 people. If you're feeding 2 people, that's enough for 2 people for one night. If you were doing it as a tapas dish, double it. If you're feeding more people in your household, double it. But at the end of the day, everything was pretty cheap and affordable. And lastly, I've got to say these are superb. So if you didn't watch my live yesterday, check it out. It's Yotam's Pickled Lemon. Oh, my God. I can't wait to start popping this on things and letting you know all the crazy places this has ended up. It won't be on my chia pudding in the morning, though. So on that note, guys, thanks for hanging with me. Thank you to everyone in Facebook land. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's a couple of people watching over there. Have a really lovely evening. I think everyone will probably be going to bed an hour earlier than usual because of daylight saving. Potato on British blend is our specialty when it comes to cooking. Well, you know, Australians, most of us have got English, Scottish, Irish blood. So we kind of grew up on English cooking too. But that was amazing. If I had to give that a score out of 10, I'd give that 30 out of 10. Oh, and also that choc chip banana peanut butter bread I made yesterday. Oh, my God, it is so good. So good. I had some for afternoon tea. It's divine. So I spent a bit of time today writing the recipe for that out under the description of the video from yesterday. But seriously, I'll never make a banana bread again using another recipe. That's the recipe now. It's so good. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, Groovers. I can hear my chops are starting to cook. And have a really lovely Sunday night or Sunday day if you're just getting up. Thanks for hanging out in the shitty kitty kitchen. And stay safe. Get some leafy greens in your guts. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks, mods. You're awesome. Love you guys. That wave.